Good evening, everyone. Aaron Stewart from the Little Black Couch, coming to you live as I drive home. Not something that many like to see me do. In fact, Cassie's probably going to kill me. But been really busy, been having a lot of fun putting some things together for Jozu Post. But I've got a lot of questions stacking up on the Little Black Couch, and so I wanted to address them pretty quickly. And one of the questions actually goes back to one of the, hey Ben, goes back to one of the podcasts that I did, probably a few months ago. And it talks about how to properly use goals. And it's something that comes up a lot because I'm not a big, I'll tell you where I have trouble with goals and where I think goals don't work. And it came from working in the corporate world. And so a lot of times in the corporate world, we have this situation where you have managers and you have upper management who come up with goals for the company. And obviously these are usually performance related, revenue related, cash flow related goals. And because they answer to a board of directors, because they answer to stockholders, these are very important for them to keep their jobs and for them to get bonuses and those sorts of things. So these goals are made for reasons other than to make you better as an employee, right? It's just basically to better their situation, not yours. Well, anytime you start creating goals for other people and trying to motivate them to get those goals, it becomes very difficult to do so. Okay, so how do we make goals in our own life that work for us? And how do we make sure that these goals are motivated by things that cannot be, that will not wane over time? A lot of us, including myself, you'll come to the first of the year, you'll decide that you're going to get into, good shape. Now, I have not had a desire to get into good shape since I was 39, right? I was terrified when I was going from 39 to 40 and I felt like I needed to get into good shape. But you realize that at 40, it doesn't matter anyway, right? I already got my smoking hot wife. Come on, why do I need to beat myself up anymore, right? So anyway, so that doesn't work for me anymore. But when we make these New Year's resolutions, we have these grandiose, great ideas, but we don't necessarily, we think of the end and we try to keep the end in mind, and we hear that from Stephen Covey a lot, keep the end in mind, which is hardly effective. I'm sorry. I love Dr. Covey so much, and he was a neighbor of ours and all of that, but keeping the end in mind doesn't always work. And here's why. So when we set up goals, we want to make sure that these goals are nothing more than just markers on our path to whatever we desire to achieve. That's it. When we treat goals like they are the end-all be-all and they are what we are trying to accomplish, then when we fall short of those goals, or let's say we haven't reached a goal yet, then we tend to not allow ourselves to celebrate the effort that we're making and the improvement that we're making. And when we don't celebrate the improvement and the effort, that's where things start to get a little depressing and achieving a goal becomes very, very difficult. Okay? So goals are great when they're just markers, mile markers along the journey to something, right? So that where you create the end in mind, you might have a series of goals, long-term goals that are going to get you to where you believe you want to be, and that may change over time as well. But as you're going along, there are things that you need to do, that we all need to do, to make sure that we can achieve these goals and get better. And one of those things is encouragement. I know I talk a lot about encouragement, but it continues to be one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make to date, is that we do not do a good enough job of seeing the little things that we're doing, seeing the effort that we're making, and giving ourselves credit for making that effort. And unless we're encouraging ourselves and unless we're noticing effort, we're not going to achieve a whole lot in this life. And if we are going to achieve anything in this life, it will be by absolute brute force, and it will be miserable the whole time. And that's not the point. There is a way to live where you can go and do the hard things and work your tail end off and still love every minute of it. And the method to do that is this idea of constant encouragement, of making sure that all the things that you are doing, you are noticing and you're giving yourself credit for them. Okay, for example, and this goes back biologically speaking, physiologically speaking, to when we were very young and our parents showered us with praise for every little thing we did. We had no goals to accomplish anything when we were little, right? We ate food, we got rid of the food through natural processes. We were learning to talk, we were doing all these things, but we never once set up any of these goals. We didn't write them down, we didn't do any of these things in order for us to accomplish some amazing, wonderful, incredible things when we were growing up. It was only the encouragement from our parents and our desire to get better that made it possible for us to achieve all these wonderful things without goals at all. And when we reached a goal, we didn't celebrate then, we celebrated every little thing along the way because our parents and those around us celebrated those little efforts with us. Okay, so as we work throughout each day, and this goes back to the question, when you're working out through each day, notice the things that you're working on and absolutely give yourself credit. Now, this can be in saying it out loud, good job, way to go, you're working hard, or this can be just in your head. I would suggest for those, when I started being super encouraging of myself, I had to do it out loud. And I still do it out loud. My kids laugh at me. My wife thinks it's funny. I still will congratulate myself on tiny little things. But it's completely fun. And the dopamine hit and all of that still happens, whether it's coming from somebody else or whether it's coming from you. And I believe that I feel better when I get compliments from myself than when I get them from anybody else. So that's how you can stay motivated throughout the day, by acknowledging the things that you are working on and giving yourself credit for them, patting yourself on the back, telling yourself you're doing a good job, noticing when you're working hard, noticing when you stayed focused. Notice all these little things. Notice when you got to work on time, when you got up on time, all of it, and congratulate yourself. If you do that, then you will go throughout the day feeling way better about yourself, way better about the things you're doing, and you will notice that you will start knocking things off your to-do list way more quickly than you ever have before, because you're just in a better state of mind. You have no negativity bringing you down, you've got dopamine hits throughout the day, you've got tons of energy, and you just start killing it. Then you can work 12 hours a day and absolutely at the end of those 12 hours feel great, feel better, going harder than you've ever felt before. So anyway, so that was our little thing today. I want to thank Jake for the question, the follow-up on the podcast, and I want to thank Jake for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate it. It's the Little Black Couch. I need to get all of these lives that I'm doing over onto the podcast, but I will do so eventually, and I'm going to do it with some automations. I'll tell you that right now. Joseph Post is going to do it for me. So until next time, please be good to yourself, encourage yourself, notice the things that you do, and I promise you that your mood will improve, you will accomplish more, you will get more done, and you will knock off these goals, and the goals won't mean anything to you because they will just be marked on the path to a better you. Thanks. See y'all. Bye.